If you want Sonic the Hedgehog on a mechanically unique card, you go, King. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Get Your Deck Out. It's me, Old Emo Dave. I'm here with Scott, 11's MTG, and we're back. Another episode after Magic was saved. 1 week on, we're here to talk to you a little bit more about what we've seen in Standard and where we foresee format going over the next couple of weeks before we see a new set. Before we get into it, obviously, remember, we are doing this on the Old Emo Dave YouTube channel. And don't forget, if you are listening on Spotify, you can come over and you can hit us up there. We got videos 3 times a week where we do gameplay, we do leagues, and a few vlogs from time to time. And it's always free, and you can always just, take it off if we're annoying you. But I'm sure you won't be because you're here listening today. So, Scott, welcome. Just for the pod, let's just have a quick reminder. Bans have happened. What got banned?
Well, Standard got blown in half. So Corey Steelcutter, Abuela's Awakening, Monstrous Rage, Heartfire Hero, Up the Beanstalk, Hopeless Nightmare, Rest in Piss, and This Town Ain't Big Enough, all banned. So basically, we did exactly what myself and a lot of other prominent people, a lot more prominent people than me anyway, were asking for, which is make the format less about 1s and 2s or going as big as humanly possible. They removed all the stuff that cares about critical mass of 1s. They removed Up the Beanstalk. They took the turn 4 combo deck out the format. By and large, all very good changes, but we have rotation in a month as well. So the format is going to look a certain way for the next couple of weeks, and then Edge of Eternities is going to hit. We're going to have rotation, and then it's going to be just a completely different format. So these bans were really shaping that future format, not necessarily the one that we're in right now.
Yeah, absolutely right. And we'll even to say it, we don't cover leaks. We don't cover like what's to come. Like, so we'll do that in the upcoming weeks. So we've seen the whole set. We'll have a full on like sit down talk about top 10 cards, everything we're supposed to do as content creators. But we're not going to talk about the things that all the fuckers on TikTok are already talking about, and you just can't ignore or avoid. But Shocklands coming back is an official one, which we will mention a little bit later.
That's certainly relevant, yeah.
Absolutely relevant. And this, is a little bit of a golden, like, go into the sunset moment as far as like what the current metas are. You're right. Lots of things got blew up. A few decks just adjusted. A few decks did just adjust. We saw that with Repair and Recharge with the Omniscience combo. We kind of called that. I think
which is rotating as well.
Even that's rotated, yeah. So and also shout out to Gap Jumper, our winner of our VV Auditor in our live Twitch chat last week. Again, all of you who showed up, that was a kind of a cool little magic moment for both of us in our time, and we're really happy to give it away. There'll be some videos up on the channel of them receiving their prize in the next couple of days, but it was a really good call, really hit call. I think what was a really good follow up as well. I watched a lot. I watched the Tuesday weekly MTG afterwards. It had Carmen on and the relevant people from the article, and they spoke very, very well and very, very on point about the reasons, the thought process, and I feel like a little bit of trust is going back into play design.
Yeah, I said it last week, right? Like Carmen and Jadine in their writing hit the nail on the head a lot of times, and they mentioned fun, especially when they were talking about the Hopeless Nightmare ban, where I don't think anyone was complaining about Hopeless Nightmare based off of purely based off of power level. It's just, this sucks, it's boring, why are we still doing it? With Up the Beanstalk, they said, the puzzle's been solved multiple times already. It's as close as they can get to saying, this shit's boring, we made a mistake, let's move on past it and not have this be plaguing our life for the next however long we decide to have it legal and standard. It's the same with Corey Steelcutter. We solved the deck building puzzle. You play it with 1s if 1s are available. If you have 0s, play it with 0s. you play it with aggressive cards, try and get them dead quickly, and that was solved already. Sleight of Hand's going nowhere. Like, Storm Chaser's talent apparently not going anywhere. So that's been solved.
And a final bit of a nod, and not a formal removal of a uniform ban window, but a bit of a nod to, with an adjustment to rotation. So that basically means it's not this time next year. There's the next rotation. It will be at Christmas time or January.
Yeah, they're aligning it with the year as opposed to the autumn set or fall for our American brethren, where that made sense when it was blocks. It doesn't make sense anymore, so you might as well just do it yearly because you're removing another thing that's incredibly confusing for new players. Where you're going, oh yeah, rotation's actually in August, and it's like, well, that's a weird time to do it. It's not even the start of the financial year or anything like that. There's no reason for it to be there for new players, so it's just confusing that it is there.
It gives a perfect alignment for your Pro Tour structure to feed your worlds and for everyone to then start again. So effectively, if you qualify for your big tournament in 2025, you'll play the next one of the big tournaments in 2025, and you kind of like keep on that alignment, which I think it's got a lot of good things that go for. And they took these cards. They took the really powerful cards like the Hopeless Nightmares out of the relevant slots and Corey Steelcutters, but the decks have been moving into sort of, let's just find a replacement, or let's kind of keep the same play patterns. And I like the fact that it's subtle enough that it's powering the deck down, but it's like also close enough that if you're willing to make like the deck building, like Fallout. So great example, Hopeless Nightmare. You can pop in a Tiny Bones Joiners up for the discard a card effect. You don't get the 2 life, so a little bit of a less. And you need
it's worse. It's still fine. It's worse, but it's absolutely fine.
And you can still then play your 8 bouncers. In fact, play more bouncers because you have the 2-mana legendary bouncer, which will then help fuel your tiny.
Ambrosia Whiteheart, I believe.
Ambrosia Whiteheart, that's the darling. And so there's. It's a little bit more of a deck construction puzzle, and also something, because at the end of the day, the difference there is by the time you've played the same amount of cardboard, your opponent's probably lost 6 less life. You can't have multiple 2/1 flyers because it's a legendary creature. In fact, it's not even a flyer, despite the fact it's a freaking bird. That's a bit of another one of those classic archers that don't have reach.
Hey, chocobos are flightless, bro.
Lots of good movements, and as you know, we'll probably not in this episode, but we would get onto with the sort of Vivi combo decks do go. The PVDDR like list is wreaking havoc. It is being well played. It's stoppable though, so I don't think anyone's going to make any major evaluations in this 3-week window.
No, I think a certain amount of that is that PVDDR needs to be nerfed, not that the deck is overpowered or anything like that. I think it's more a case of he's an insanely good player. He is in the top 5 players of all time, pretty much without argument. And you could give him a ham sandwich. He's going to go 6-4 with it, let alone a good deck. But again, Foldoran Thrillseeker's rotating.
Yeah. So that sort of combo way out goes like a lot of these sort of very powerful combo decks that have secondary win cons, like the first win con goes, or the solid second win con goes, so it becomes a bit of a glass cannon, right? Like it's lots to change. It really does need to change because there has been a very obvious straight to the top of the meta brainless MTGO grinder special of the mid-range, and we've seen it. The memes are everywhere across Fire Shoes and YouTube and everywhere. The 1 through 8 standard challenge this last weekend, where it's all Demir mid-range.
I think it was 7 of the top 8, but it's the same thing as Frog in Modern, where for ages that was just not a good deck. It was Psychic Frog and then 56 other cards that weren't particularly good. They weren't suited to the meta. But some of these people, they see Preordain and a 2-mana threat that accrues incremental advantage in the same deck, and they just cannot help themselves. They need to play it. They see a Fairy Mastermind and think, oh, it could draw me a card, and they have to play the deck with it in. They see Kaito that draws them a card every turn, and they go, well, I have to play this. It's so skill intensive. I'm a better player than everyone else, so I need to play this because I can get the advantage out of it. And then someone turns up with mono red and kicks their head in, and they O2 drop. But it's obviously a good deck, and it's not losing that much with rotation by the looks. So it will be a place where people start. The lands, it is getting slightly worse, I want to say. I think they're getting a shock land, but they're losing the pain land and the fast land. So maybe it won't be as pip intensive. Maybe it goes closer to mono black, that sort of thing. But
yeah, let's talk about the land base situation, because I think not go look at results. That result is the shock, is the high time shocker. Gari's done well, Control's done well. There's
is it Cauldron, mono black demons, Gruul Delirium? There's a whole mono white Control's been doing quite well as well, but it's
we'll do our usual thing. We'll point you to mtgjackstock.net. We'll point you to Fire Shoes on X, Twitter, Threads, wherever you want to see him. Blue Sky. He'll find you something to play in the meantime. Please don't burn your wild cards. Please just play what you can build with your collection. If you're playing on Arena, if you're playing on Modo and you have a rental service, use a rental service. Don't go drop any tickets on anything. Yeah,
don't be buying cards for the next month, because in a month the format is going to look completely different.
Yeah, I think the financial advice I'll give on that is most of those decisions will be bad decisions if you make them. So you might get lucky, and we always hear that story of, I picked up that card for 2 tickets and it's now worth 25. Well, yeah, like we've all done the reverse though.
You don't hear about all the times they've bought a card for 25 ticks and then 3 weeks later it's worth 3 ticks and they can't even sell it to a bot because everyone else is doing the same thing. You'll hear about people's successes. They don't often boast about their failures.
Yeah, exactly right. But the mana is going to be key to deck building decisions post Edge of Eternities. And we grabbed again off the socials. And anybody who's listening or watching the video version of this, we're going to pop up on the screen now a really, really handy table that was shared. Really want the original poster to get credit, but there was multiple other posters we saw this with. Post-rotation, there's going to be a lot of fast lands going and all the pain lands going based on the knowledge we have now. I think we could probably say quite safely, now they've told us shocks are coming, we're probably not getting like pains or nothing random like that. So, so every color pair has a surveil land. See, Starting Town is available to everyone as well. And
to any fast pip intensive deck, basically.
Yeah, and there is, for the whole part of this rotation, there is a creature land in each pip as well, thanks to the Wilds of Eldraine and Caverns of Ixalan cycle. So, how it lays out, winners and losers. Absolute instant winner is your Mardu family, the full Mardu family.
Black, white, and red, white.
Massive winners. So they get their shock land, their fast land, and their verge lands.
What I will say though is black red, you don't have the shock land or the fast land. So any deck we see in that Mardu space, I know we're going to talk about deck building philosophy in new formats later on, but you need to make sure that your deck, if you are looking at a Mardu deck, center it in white. Because you've got white black and white red. You don't have black red. You don't have that third line of the triangle. You need to center that in white.
Yeah, it's almost like these decks should be they should be Orzhov splashing red rather than true like all across Mardu. The interesting pair that's also doing really well is blue-green. We don't really have any major blue-green decks in standard.
Shout out Doug having to play blue-green Terror.
Yeah, so which we can't even get back out for him now that we've lost the beans. But that's interesting because I think you got some of these Surveilly type decks and graveyard decks where potentially they'd become a little bit more resilient if they splash some blue so that they could have some counter magic. So interested to see where that one goes. Off the top of my head,
the Outlaws, the Outlaws of Thunder Junction Oko is genuinely really powerful, and you haven't seen it at all just because of the way the format's gone. But stuff like this, it gives my old, decrepit, cruel, cynical heart vague hope that we'll see some different cards.
Yeah, no, I definitely right, and I think we will see Shock Verge to Veil meta as well. I think we'll see because he'll be so strong to have played either your Shock or your Verge on one. I think we'll see a pullback of the turn one aggro play, unless as much so that people can have good mana to put up the 3 mana, 4 mana bombs that they are to play. But there is losers, as always, in this winners, and big loser being Azorius. They lose their fast land. They're
not getting a shock land. Like that only really hits the blue white tempo style decks, though, right? Like
because Jeskai is going to be solid because you'll still get white red, so
it'll be manageable because you've still got Spire Bluff Canal, so you've still got the blue-red fast land. But again, do you necessarily want to be having a 3-color deck where it's not Verge Shock based? And because everyone's seen the problems that we've had with 3-color decks based in fast lands. Esper Pixie was really pip intensive. I played that deck. You played that deck. You lost your mana half the time.
Yes. You did. You definitely lost your mana, and I think about sort of like the top Jeskai decks at the moment. So the control deck will be fine. In fact, they're actually not playing the fast lands. I think Oculus will be fine, specifically because the fast mana you usually want doesn't necessarily need white. I think you're right. You Spire Bluff Canals.
Although I have seen a lot of Oculus decks recently just dropping red entirely, dropping that angle, and doing the Knight of Nubenalia Monument to Endurance thing as well. Yeah. But again, I'm going to keep parroting this. Knight of Nubenalia is rotating.
Yeah.
So exactly. It's proof that you don't need to look at the format in its current state and try and plan for the next 6 months. No, or the upcoming RCQ season. Just wait.
Absolutely. But this land consideration is definitely about, like, if you are on any like levels of offense of getting ready for standard, is just be aware like what will suddenly get nerfed to the ground or be a really bad strategy. So I think the white green pips being hit really hard. I think that, you've got things, you've got some really good tempo Selesnya decks. Like, for example, there's a bit of a fringe one with the Gear Hulks.
The cage style, the cage style decks. There's is it Phoenix Down from Final Fantasy that people have been using with Bright Glass Gear Hulk? But again, you can play a green-white deck. You just need to bear in mind that you might need to be basically mono green splashing white, because all you've got is maybe a couple of Surveil lands, a Restless Prairie or 2. I think that's the green white one. But you have got the Verge, which is primary green, and then it gets white on the second line. So using the Verges to kind of influence which way you take the deck, whether you want to be majority red or majority blue, for example. So with the blue-red one, it is primary red, secondary blue. You've got the fast land, you've got the Surveil land, we're not getting the shock land. So you can play a blue-green deck. You just need to really pay attention to the pips and be careful where the color requirements are on the curve.
Yeah, absolutely. That is big thing. Also, just a big thing for people to know, like, watching prices shift as well. This is the first time for a while that we've had. It was already a first time for a while where we had fast mana hit standards, so therefore it dropped. It's definitely stabilized back up a little bit, but great ones to watch, like Seachrome Coast, right? So like they were a great one where like they wouldn't go less than 15 quid 5 years ago, and have dropped all the way down. They've stabilized back up, but yeah, just what if you got stuff rotating out and you're thinking about like building Brewing Pioneer or picking them up for modern, just let rotation go away for a while. And also remember, yes, we've got some really spicy ones hitting. So obviously Godless Shrine and Sacred Foundry specifically. Yes, a lot of us like to prepare for upcoming formats. So we could say, oh yeah, mana's going to be fine. But I can tell you, Sacred Foundry will come down from its current high when there's suddenly a whole standard set of openings happening. They're currently, because of the strength of Boris mainly in and prowess and stuff like that in modern, are currently trending up around the £15 to £20 mark. So like just slow your roll a little.
Yeah, just be careful.
Yeah, you won't necessarily need to play a standard RCQ in the first couple of months in August, especially if you're down our way, because you'll probably be playing Commons Clash or playing Axia Now's modern events. So yeah, be careful with your decision making, but just have in mind that the way we build decks is going to change from a mana base perspective, and a load of cards. Moving on to those, like a load of cards are going. I think like I'll do like the whole like after roll, pre-roll up the middle of the page here. In the wonderful alphabetical order you put them in, Scott. I'll give you that in the show notes.
Shout out Scryfall. I put all the sets in and scrolled through the entire card spoiler for all of the sets that are rotating, which is Dominaria United, Brothers War, All Be One, March of the Machine, and LOL Aftermath as well. There's some big hitters in this list.
Yeah, and some big hitters, which will basically mean, unless we see complete either reprints or reskin of the strategy in the Edge of Eternity's spoilers. Although we've seen some spoilers, we haven't seen like some obvious fits. There is some decks which just get gutted. I think my first starting call when I looked through this list was seeing that with Convoke. You lose Gleeful Demolition, you lose Errant of Eos, you lose Resolute Reinforcements.
No Foundations.
It got reprinted. Oh, yeah. I should have scrolled down to R before I saw that.
Yes, I did go through and double check if anything was in Foundations, because like Tellarian Terror was in Dominaria United, but it was reprinted in Foundations. So just be careful.
It's okay. You can play Simic Crabs.
do not use Gatherer. As much as I hate to say it, we locally have had issues with Gatherer saying things like Flame Slash was standard legal when they weren't, because it was a promo.
Someone actually came to our standard night. Yeah, someone came to our standard night with that, didn't they? It was
a store championship.
Yeah,
and like brand new player, they gone, well, I used Gatherer and Gatherer told me it was legal. I went on Gatherer on my phone and it said Flame Slash is legal. Yeah. So I as the judge for the event, what am I meant to do? I tried my best. I think I found a good solution. That's a different story for a different time, for when people want to get a little bit nerdy about judge calls. But in this list, like as I said, Dave put it up on screen as well, but I implore you to go and have a look yourself. I'm sure other people have done lists of the most important cards rotating out of standard, that sort of thing. But things like Atraxa, things that in our minds have been in standard for, it feels like 5 years. It's actually 3.
Yeah.
Sheoldred's rotating. Finally. Like, even things like Sarah Paragon, things that have been supporting like these fringe or secondary deck archetypes. Tyvar is a big one as well. That's gonna pretty much kill the roots decks, I think. I'd be surprised if they
2 or 3 turns.
I'd be surprised if they can survive through it. Plaza of Heroes, for a long time, that was a menace. Monastery Swiftspear, we're all gonna have to go to playing Grease Wrench Goblin and Mono Red. Like it is going to be a completely different format, and that's why both you, Dave, and myself from the start of this have been saying, do not take the next month super seriously unless you've got a big tournament that's important. If you're just playing on the ladder, don't be dropping wild cards. Don't be crafting a new deck, because come rotation, it could be completely different. And we're in the midst of spoiler season for Edge of Eternities. I know there's been a lot of leaks as well. As Dave said, we're not going to talk about them. We're only going to talk about official spoilers, but there's always powerful cards in every set, and especially after rotation as well. The two things that happen that are guaranteed are the format gets smaller, and thus generally the format gets less powerful. And in the modern day, less powerful means less quick a lot of the times. So Standard was a turn 3, turn 4 format. That's why they banned 7 cards. Right now, it's feeling like almost a turn 4.5, turn 5 format. So it's still a bit quick, but 3-year Standard, you're going to have that problem just by virtue of more cards being in the environment. It's going to speed everything up with their design philosophies.
Yeah, and we got quite a few solid interaction answers leaving us, which I think is going to massively open up deck responses. And should we just say how quickly people are going to be able to refine things? So we lose Cut Down, Destroy Evil. We lose Dreams of Steel and Oil, with not so much of a problem anymore now that we haven't got Cutter to necessarily hit. You've got Jason Perfect in Mind, which has been the ultimate secondary win card of control.
Yeah, or like the control mirror breaker or the domain mirror breaker back in the day.
Yeah, and temporary lockdown. Now, temporary lockdown. If it did happen to receive another sort of semi-printing, again, it was another card that's great. Tear Asunder. I net decked a Golgari mid-range to a 4-1 in the league the other day.
Tear Asunder's so good, and it has been since it was printed.
I completely forgot how important that card is. It's great at 2 mana, it's great at 4 mana. I was like, oh, it's going to go. And Urabrask's 4. It's and I've been finding myself doing that. I've been playing Jeskai Control. I really loved the sort of Dragon package. And found it fun, and been thinking about ways to innovate to it. And I always find myself sort of leading to some of these cards. I've tried to stay away, and it's been really hard. Eurobas Forge is just a great little sort of catch-all to play longer games with. Chase is a great one to catch games with. But there's one card I'm just really happy is going, and as Azur Eternal Schemer. I mean, Overlords can fuck off, and we could just. Not get hard scammed. I know Luna's really good still. Luna's really good. There'll be another Bane eventually, but literally top decking a 3-drop and getting bashed in the face for 19 from your leyline bindings.
Una and Zur are very different cards though, right? Where they both do the thing with enchantments. They both have lasting effects. Una's 5 mana.
Yeah, exactly.
Point number 1, which is a lot, and it only does something on end step. You can't have Plazer activate. Oh, but my go for the throat, and it's get stuffed because I've already activated it twice. But I mean, go for the throat's rotating as well. You look at the top decks right now, and you've got what Dimir, Mono White, Golgari, Convoke.
As well.
Yeah, so Lay Down Arms from Mono White and Sunfall.
Yep.
Yeah, they can maybe pivot to Ultima, whatever. That's probably better
Joust.
for the format. Joust Through, I think, is the one that people have been playing from Foundations. Elspeth Smite's rotating as well. I didn't put it on the list, but it is also good.
Foundations.
Elspeth Smite?
Yeah, got printed in Foundations.
How much do you want to bet? Because they printed Joust Through. We'll do it live on the podcast. I'm searching out Scryfall.
We'll do it. We'll do a Final Fantasy pack.
It is in Foundations. Yes! Fair enough. I'll hold my hands up and say also that's weird that they do that and Jouster in the same set. But I suppose
we'll revert back to just the cannibals.
Oh, hang on. It's not in the normal set. It's Its collector number is 493, and it doesn't have an out of. So it's going to be in like the starter collection or something like that.
Betting involved. Yes, right. You were correct. I was correct.
It's like me finding out that Pyromancer's Goggles is standard legal. I was like, since when? But it was in Foundation Start Collection. But going back, so Dimir is losing like Cut Down, Go for the Throat, Anoint with Affliction, loads of stuff. Golgari's losing Glisser, Go for the Throat, Tear Asunder, Obstinate Baloth, less important now that Hopeless Nightmare's gone, I suppose. Cedar Hope's going, the Stonebrain, Cruelty of Gix, even cards like Yotium Frontliner, which people don't necessarily consider as being a standard player, but that card's seen a lot of play since it was printed.
Elk together, held some of the Azorius tempo strategies together. There's lots going. And Cruelty of Gix, like the Cruelty of Gix's command, like decks are getting obliterated, people. Have fun with what you've got.
But use what you've got.
Go to your local store and play Final Fantasy Standard as well. There's the meta is wide open. The promos are worth bank, right? Locals promos right now. So there's an Ultima and there's a Squirrel card because it's the only place you can get them printed. There's people who are like master saying Final Fantasy. Like these cards, like in UK prices, are going for £20 a card. So like you absolutely need to get there, and especially the City of Brass. I saw someone selling City of Brasses this weekend for £100.
Doubt. I apologise for the camera viewers. I am just going to put my light on because it's starting to get a little bit dark behind me now. Good old British summer. Getting dark at 7 p.m. after we've had glorious sunshine all day, but there we are.
Love that. But that's the thing. The job we got. Get ready for like planning to do something new. It's got coming into like brewing or being ready to brew. What kind of things you think about when you're hitting a rotation, like, and let's just say you want in the first 6 weeks after rotation, you want to be in a position to hit your RCQ and qualify. Like, what kind of preparations can you make now?
So be aware of what people that are much better at Magic than you are saying, and that does not include myself and yourself. I'm saying Pro Tour players, I'm saying the high-level streamers. Look at what they're saying, look at what they're talking about, and be aware of what's rotating in particular as well. So be aware that the lands are changing. So be aware of what we've got access to. So, for example, like which shock lands we've got, which fast lands we've got. Mana base is something that a lot of people don't think about. They want to put all the spells in their deck and then they think about the lands afterwards. Whereas if you look at Fountain Port, it's an incredibly powerful card and it's going to be around for a long time. Think about, right, Fountain Port, where does this go? And people are playing it in mono white to good effect, but that's because it's a colorless land. You can play it in a monocolor deck. Can we play blue in that deck? Don't know, maybe. Might mean you can't play No More Lies. That's a really powerful card that you'd want to play. So the first place to look is lands. If you are interested in playing Modern or Pioneer, get the shock lands. They're always going to be relevant. I know people like to complain about Wizards power creep and all of that. Shock lands are one of the things that they haven't power crept. They're going to be safe. If you open up some Verges from Aether Drift packs or whatever you've got laying around, don't sell them. At least not in the next month. Just keep hold of them. I'm not that much of a standard player in paper. I will play RCQs in the odd weekly. Even I'm keeping hold of Verges. I've played them in Modern. They're going to be relevant if Wizards ever decides that Pioneer is a format that they want to support again. Verges will see some play there as well. So lands are always the most important thing. When people come and speak to me and they go, I want to start playing Modern, what should I do? And I'm like, well, first of all, borrow decks because you want to see if you like it first. And Modern isn't for everyone, especially with the Horizon sets. It's not for everyone, and it's really expensive. It's really hard when a player walks up to me and goes, I want to get into Modern, what should I do? And I go, right, well, you get your credit card out and you're now 700 quid down for one deck. Like, that's a lot of money. And especially nowadays where prices go nowhere but up. This is a luxury hobby. So with people in certain positions, obviously we're in the position where we're in long-term committed relationships, we have stable jobs, that sort of thing. Not everyone's in that position, and that's why we sit here and run our mouths constantly and say, oh, this isn't financial advice, because we both make shit decisions, but we have room to do that. Some people don't. So just be smart, be sensible, and be safe. Don't build anything now. Don't go on Moxfield and have Scryfall open with F Future, which is the future standard tag. It shows everything that's coming in standard. Don't just build a deck off that, zero play testing, and order it from Star City Games and pay $500. That's a really good way to waste your money. Be aware of what's leaving, look at the new cards, and consider and be patient. All that being said, if you're a lunatic like me and you enjoy brewing into new formats, look at cards that are extremely powerful, but they've been crowded out by some other meta force. So for me, the best example of this that I found in Standard is Herd Heirloom. So 1 and a green, artifact, taps for a mana of any color. So 2 mana rock, very good. Only to cast a creature spell, sure, whatever. Bit of a limitation, but creatures are really good. And tap until end of turn, target creature you control power 4 or greater against trample, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So it's card advantage. Good thing. It's got the 3 best words in Magic on it, draw a card. And it taps for mana as well. So early game when you need it for mana, it's adding mana. Late game when you need it to push damage, it's not only drawing you cards, but also giving trample. And Wizards have been very gung-ho, shall we say, with printing green 3-drops with 4 power or more. And we have Llanowar Elves. That's another card that is extremely powerful. It's always seen play whenever it's been legal. 1 mana dorks is something that they said for years and years and years that they wouldn't do in Standard, and now we have it in Foundations.
And we're losing Cut Down.
And we're losing Cut Down. We're potentially losing some of the more efficient removal that we're seeing.
Yeah.
But someone go for the throat in Llanowar Elves is generally fine, because they're trading down on mana, and that's part of the reason why Llanowar Elves is so powerful. It's the fact that 3-drops just didn't matter because of the way the format was, because it was all about 1s and 2s or going as big as possible. Playing a Glyssa Sunslayer ahead of schedule, sometimes relevant, sometimes good, often not. Playing a Sheoldred in turn 3, not good enough. That isn't going to be the case, maybe not immediately, but I genuinely believe and trust Wizards when in the ban announcement, they're talking about how they're going to stop pushing 1-drops and they want to push people back towards the middle and have 3 or 4s that have text actually matter. So maybe Severance Priest, that sort of thing. I know that's a card that you favoured. And Surak, Elusive Hunter, Scrap Shooter's insanely good.
Yeah, what a card! We pulled the deck, or you pulled this deck list to actually. It's one of those classics submitted on MTG.net, but basically was a locals was out of Japan. But it's a really great example, isn't it?
So last Sun qualifiers are actually quite competitive, and they do them quite a lot. So it is one that I know. There's the archetype of it top 4'd a local tournament in Japan is a go-to meme, but it's not necessarily like a perfect deck, and I don't know if you can put the deck list up on screen.
Yeah, we'll put the deck list up, and it's got all the cards that I think do other stuff.
It's just a
really should be good.
It's just a good example of where I would personally start, and I know a lot of people locally know me as a deck builder. I normally turn up to Modern Nights with the most unhinged piles of shit and can normally scrape out at least 2-2 with it. I was playing Zuran Orb Restore Balance before MH3 dropped. I like playing weird stuff, and I have got okay at maximizing it. But with stuff like this, you look at this deck and think, oh, okay, well, it's basically mono green, and then in the main deck anyway, we're splashing white for Sheltered by Ghosts. So we're playing mono green, powerful cards. Keen-Eyed Curator, Lana Orels, Outcaster Trailblazer is another one that's really, really good. Scrap Shooter, Surak. Lumbering World Wagon, I'm not too sure on, but go off, King, do what you need. Innkeeper's Talent, Sheltered by Ghosts, all of these are really powerful cards, and you can support that with Verges. You can support that with Starting Town. You can make the mana work for that. So it's, right, okay, so what does this lose? Well, the lands get a bit worse, but we can replace them with stuff. Can we maybe squeeze a Surveil land or two in here? We're only actually playing 8 1-drops, but Paw Patch Recruit's kind of a 3-drop. So you start to see, right, this isn't actually losing all that much. Can I use this as a jumping off point? But also, we have got another set coming as well. So me looking at this deck and going, oh, well, these cards are going to be good post rotation. We don't know. Scrap Shooter might be unplayable. I doubt it. It's very, very good. But Goldvein Hydra, the format might be particularly hostile to that sort of thing. We don't know.
Yeah, it very much the case. Like, you're gonna we're gonna definitely have a period where people are not necessarily gonna know how to adjust. I think like sideboard mapping is probably the best thing we could talk about here, and that in the next 8 weeks, or the first 8 weeks post this new set after rotation, I think the better plan players are going to have a much bigger edge by you knowing what you want to do inside out and preparing for as much as you can, because a lot of people are going to have kept their original deck. They're going to replace cards A and B for C and D, and hope
which are basically like worse versions of the same card.
Yeah, and hope it still works the same, and have not adjusted, for example, like their sideboard tech cards to actually be able to deal with what you've got. And I think like this is a really good time to sort of flex those planning muscles, and not just be good at Magic, be good at thinking about Magic and what you might be threatening as well. Because the format is already blown wide open, and it's also going to be a completely barren desert for the next 8 weeks or so. Because even though, yes, we do have content creators, we do have early access, we do have all of that, but we don't have a serious tournament until the third. I say serious tournament. I'm sure like there'll be some kind of Croquis Open or something like that. But
like a major pro tournament.
Yeah, 30th, 31st of August is the SCG con. See, the Action event in August is actually still modern. So like
we also have a Spotlight Series event in Liverpool in the UK as well, but I don't think we know what format that is yet.
Yeah, so 30th, 31st.
Oh yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, so 30th, 31st of August is the first sort of like light in the sand of what's a good deck. So, and yeah, because it's summer, a lot of stores aren't planning their RCQs. Like say we work out in Cardiff out of Firestorm, and yeah, we're not planning any in the early doors because, like this summer, let's be outside, nerds, right? Let's go and enjoy it.
Touch grass.
Let's touch grass. Let's let Action do the hard work. Let's go enjoy their events. So, yeah,
generally, what you want to do in those new formats, though, I see people go, I want to play a control deck because they do what you do. They've played Jeskai Control. They enjoy Shiko. They enjoy Stock Up, that sort of thing. And they want to take that and take it into the new format. Control decks never work early on in a format, especially if it's unknown, because you don't know what you're trying to answer. Just play if you absolutely must, and you have a format, say, a tournament a week after Edge of Eternities comes out and you need a deck. Play something assertive that has no bad cards in it. So maybe this mono green deck, because are any of the cards outstandingly busted? Yeah, probably not, but there's not a bad card in it. And it's assertive, it gets people dead, it doesn't fuck about and try and find a combo, anything like that. And the sideboard mapping, as you said, is pretty simple. So play something like that, and that's the way to be. You don't want to be trying to find your is it Cauldron list within a week, because you don't know what you're trying to fight against. You don't know what people are bringing to hate on you. You don't know if they're going to have loads of graveyard hate, so Agatha's Soul Cauldron isn't the way to go, and you'd rather be wild riding Vivi and going down that route instead. You just don't know. Just bring something simple and assertive, channel your inner Gruul brain, and come in, headbutt some people, take the money and leave. And then 3 weeks in, when we see the format start to settle, then you can figure out what control deck to play and be distinguished with your monocle and your pipe and thinking that you're smarter than everyone else because you cast No More Lies on a 5-drop. Yes. Speaking from experience as someone who enjoys playing No More Lies and thinks they're better at Magic than they are, probably.
Yes, No More Lies' stock may rise, may not rise.
Yeah, we don't know. See. It depends on the format, right?
We will see. But it's a feels good man moment about like what they did to Standard. It's a feels good about where like the competitive space is. I like this because you know what? Paul Pageddon is finishing up right now as we're recording this. There's still the back end of Modern season, so people are still playing Modern for the next 2 to 3 weeks in a competitive level. You don't have to be that invested in Standard right now, but you know what? Standard's going to be cool for like the next 6 to 9 months when we've had a full, fresh set of bands and we got a full, fresh set of rotations in. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm really looking forward to where it's going to put us. I'm not looking forward to more Universes Beyond, but hey, those prices are for another day.
Prices, yeah.
Scott, obviously, as we're sort of getting towards a wrap up, like, have you got anything anything which has been ridiculous though that you've seen in like the social space from like this last space in time? Like any major disagreements to the bands which you thought like, what the hell is that guy smoking? Or do you just feel like actually people were generally quite well behaved with these, and weirdly we're actually quite a social bunch for a change?
I haven't seen people screaming and saying, oh, they got this wrong, they should have done this. I haven't seen too much of that. I will say I've stopped using Twitter, X, whatever the hell. If Elon Musk dead names his own kid, then I'm going to dead name his stupid fucking website. I don't use Twitter. I don't use Blue Sky. I don't even go on Facebook. I scroll Reddit sometimes. That's pretty much it. And then it's what other people have looked at and said to me. By and large, it looks like this has gone down really well. People are feeling good and feeling positive about Standard. In a way, good seems to be like okay. It seems like people haven't responded and gone, haha, 7 bands in Standard, they're so stupid or whatever, which I like. I mean, I've been pretty outspoken about how I think Magic's play design does a very good job, and the people that sit on their computers and say that they could do a better job, by and large, are wrong and stupid, and they don't realize how difficult it is to build a game full stop and make it fun, let alone how good Magic's been for so long. Have they made mistakes? Yeah, of course they have. Who hasn't? But when you look at the volume of cards that they put out, they do a phenomenal job. And for the next month, are we going to meme about Dimir being 7 out of 8 spots in a top 8? Yeah, of course we are. Everyone's going to have your chats, talk about how Kaito should be emergency banned or whatever. I've seen people talking about I think it actually was 8 out of 8. Oh no, it's 7 out of 8. Azorius controlling 7th. And there we are, a post on Reddit 5 hours ago. Have we considered that maybe Enduring Curiosity or Kaito should have gotten a hit too? And I can't imagine that there's anything useful going on in the comment section there.
About as useful in the comment section right now as the disdain towards the Sonic the Hedgehog cards, which, to be honest, if you have disdain to fucking Knuckles or Tails, then you can do one. They are my use. I don't care. I don't care what they had on their cards. It's cool that they exist. If you
10 minutes ago, you were complaining about UB.
I complain about UB prices, but hey, if you want Sonic the Hedgehog on a mechanically unique card, you go, King. You just go do you, right?
I'm at the point where I've just given up now. It's not going to change. The genie's out of the bottle.
I mean,
if it's your breaking point, then fine. I understand.
I picked up Joshua, right? Like, Joshua for me was like a card. I'm going to pick it up because if I'm ever going to play Oculus in like sweaty competitive Jeskai mode in the next 12 months, probably a cool card to have a couple of. I got a play set for a tenner, right? That's nothing, right? That's okay. Don't buy packs. Like, don't buy 2 packs to try and hit it. Just go and get the singles you need. Listen to these podcasts. Listen to like your friends. Listen to your groups, and just go and get singles. And obviously, if you are going to go and get singles, go and put them in your bulk box and get some money off. Links in the description. But one of those ones where we're actually saying, it's been pretty good. And it's been pretty good for us as well, because see, this is that towards the end, talking about like, the focus on competitive Magic is right here. We've been having a really great summer of play with the 7 River series that we've had together. That's really brought loads of people together across the Southwest and regular play. I'm just going to be, this is that point where I'm going to let people know, like I've teased it out on the actual socials. You don't look, but I have put it there, is that we are going to host the European Unity League UK Nationals. It's going to be on October the 11th. So for all of you grinders out there who look at the European Unity League and thinking, I'm in the top 40 in the UK, where can I play? I'll tell you next episode. But put October the 11th in your calendar so that you can be ready for it. I will give a little spoiler. We're not going to host it in Cardiff because we know Wales is a bitch to get to. We know Wales is a little bit of a bitch to get to for some of you. So we have got a really great shop. We've got really great facilities and really good prize support on offer where we can do a great job, get a good judge in for you, host some commentary and all that good jazz. But put October 11th in your calendars. And no, Scott, next episode, let's take a tangent. Standard still what we were talking about. But
going to make me talk about Pioneer, aren't you?
But that's because on Magic Online, you can play Pioneer free next week, thanks to this Battlegrounds initiative. We'll put a little hashtag ad up here in a second.
Whilst you don't give a shit about Pioneer, but Daybreak do, so.
But they let you play for free, let you basically earn some cards and test some. It's meta decks as well. It is like 6 out of the top 10 meta decks. We're going to be giving them a go. We're going to be playing them online. We might even play a little against each other on a video on a channel whilst we get there to see who really is the king of the hill. Spoiler, it was probably Scott. Yes, take another little bit of a look. We will have the first spoilers from Edge of Eternities officially to look at that point.
We will soon be edging, yes.
We will be edging our way to the eternity of a new standard format. But before we leave you all, Scott, have you got anything else you want to say?
No, I think Pioneer next week is going to be fun. It's going to be like looking at a completely new game because I'll be honest, I haven't looked at Pioneer in a long, long time because I haven't had a reason to. They've given me no reason to, so I just haven't. And that's sad. I know some people absolutely love Pioneer. It's been their main format. And thank you, Daybreak, for doing this sort of thing. It's good to see someone cares about Pioneer.
If you haven't played much Magic Online either as well, it's like the most sort of like like to paper where you can play online. Yes, it's not on your phone, but if you are by your PC, go to the link in the description now and get it downloaded. And we will be giving a big old pile of play codes away in the next episode as well. If you do listen through to that, in fact, we'll just like randomly, should we like do like a code breaker thing on the video, like to sort of like have the letters suddenly appear and go nuts, King. Yeah, thank you very much.
Keep the bots away from it. Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening, for watching, for hanging around. This has been Get Your Deck Out. Enjoy your card games. Don't get caught up with buying the wrong fetch lands or shock lands. Fetch lands is completely the wrong format.
Fetch lands in standards, you fucking cowards.
I will see you next time to Get Your Deck Out.
Get your deck out for the Gooners.
Goon into eternities.
That's the little
bit
at the end. Yeah. I'm gonna keep doing that, by the way.